Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to go over all of the brand new fire cards that are going to be coming out soon that really make it seem like we're going to be in a fire dominant meta. And I think with some of the cards being announced, that one of them might actually be contention for the best card of 2024 already. So I do want to go over it. And while you guys already may know about these cards, I do want to discuss a little more about the actual interactions between them that make them so dominant and why they've been having such a profound effect in the OCG meta. So yeah, before I get into the video, go check out tsx1.com and use the code POTATO10 for 10% off on all your sleeves and mats. They're the sleeves I use at events, so I recommend you guys do the same. And I'll jump straight into the video. Okay, so the first thing to go over would be the cards that are coming out actually this year. At the end of the year, we got in December the Fire King structure deck. So I'm not going to spend really a lot of time going over the Fire King monsters here, but it's important to note that we have yet another fire deck coming out that is okay. However, I don't think it will be good until we get this other fire support I'm about to show you guys. I think you do rely on the other cards, you know, give it that extra strength. I think, even though it is a tier 1 deck in the OCG, that is a largely in part because there's other three support cards I'm going to show. But yeah, this deck is solid. I recommend you guys go give those cards a read. And if you want me to make a video about the Fire Kings separately, then let me know, because I want to give them attention and, you know, their own focus, rather than, you know, splashing into a video that I wanted to focus on these other cards in. But pretty much you can set up a couple disruptions with this deck and you get a lot of really good follow-up. And it's honestly pretty good. However, you lose some of the extension and a lot of the disruption without these new cards and some consistency. So I think that we won't see this deck convert super well at Bologna right now, but in the future, this is a deck we should expect to see doing well. After all, it appears we're going to be entering the year of the fire, because these cards are just nuts. Now, once we get to the new year, with Maze and Millennia, we should be getting Bonefire. So this here is Rhoda for Pyros. That's simply all it is, and while that may not seem crazy yet, with the release of Phantom Nightmare, you'll see why it becomes nuts. Add level 4 lower Pyro from next to your hand, and yep, that's really just it. That's all we need, because we're going to be adding Snake Eye Populous. Now, this is the card that really you know, makes a lot of these decks significantly stronger, and I don't think it even is the best card in the set yet, or best card in the set, you know, at all, which is crazy. So no, read this. If it's added to your hand except by drawing, you can special summon it. Cool. That alone is like neat. It's an extender. But if this card is normal special summon, you can add a Snake Eye spell trap from next to your hand. Okay, so we can add this Sinful Spoil Snake Eye to summon any of the one fire from next to your hand, and that means we can get Hydrant. You can get, you know, this card out, the Ponix. You can get Jet Synchron, Richardetto. You can, you know, do a lot of stuff, right? You can do Renaud. There's plenty of insane level 1 fires, right? There's really been a recent trend is like, you know, before the fire gimmick is all 200 defense for Rekindling. Now it's like level 1s. And if you have both like these, then even better, I guess. Although we haven't seen Rekindling pop up at all. Who knows if it might in the future. The card is nuts. But yeah, and you may think, okay, but now why would you want to play the Sinful Spoil cards? Well, the thing is, if you've played stuff like Rescue Ace, you may have noticed before that the deck feels, you know, very, very much stronger when you have the Sinful Spoil card access. And when you don't have them, you know, it really doesn't feel as good. And you know, the deck can still be fine, and you can still absolutely win games without it. But I think there is a clear power difference in the deck when you do draw the Sinful Spoil cards and you don't. And when I was playing, you know, playing the deck, it was kind of frustrating. I don't like my deck to have such huge swings in power based on an engine that's, you know, only 4 or 5 cards big. So giving you more consistency to that, I actually think is a positive for the game, you know, making the game a little more predictable. Although the card is very nuts. Now you should expect these Rescue Ace decks, or, you know, this Fire King deck here, to have access to their Sinful Spoil engine, you know, constantly. And this is a list from the YCS Japan. They got 4,000 players. They got first place. We went 17-0 to win the tournament, so that's cool. But yeah, so you get special summon your Hydrant from the deck, your Ponix from the deck, but that's not even it. Let's have the other effects here that if it goes to the graveyard, you can try to fire in your grave and place it in the spell trap card zone. So you can do cool stuff with like Rescue Ace Preventer, where you can put in the spell trap card zone, and then when it goes to grave, you know, either via your opponents or some card effect you have, like Sinful Spoil Snake Eye. You can special one of your banished cards, so you know, random extra synergy. What's really good about this is you can just, you know, make Link Kariba with this, and then this can send off your Populous from the Spell Trap card zone of the grave. So now, not only is this card just E-Telly for any fire by itself, It also has a link creator on the field, which, you know, isn't worthless, right? Like with the way SP Little Knight's positioned in the format, you know, having such strong access to Little Knight so easily is absolutely worth something. So not to be overshadowed, that effect is actually relevant. You know, 3 insane effects is nuts. So yeah, this essentially means all our decks now have E-Tele for level 1 fires. So Rescue Ace, you know, we're eating. They're good. I've said they're good before. They're only getting more insane. Now, what some people are doing in OCG, you know, what most people actually are doing, is they're including Snake Eye Ash as well. And now this is because they don't have a normal summon yet. They're going to be adding this card instead off the Bonefire. And then when a summon, you can add a level 1 fire from next to your hand. So you can add the Populace. So you're doing the same thing here, and with the same number of cards, and you're just trading your normal summon for 1 extra body in play. And now, what this is useful is because it means you can hold this, and then with the Link Reroll plus the Snake Eye Ash, you can make Little Knight. So before committing your extension, even your main piece to get to a Hydrant or whatever, you can summon SP to really force out interrupts and, you know, get going. And, you know, depending on how you build your deck, you can even do something fancy and overlay these for like a Kikinagishi Fucho, and then go into, you know, Zeus afterwards. That's not even out of the realm of possibility. And then send off the Zeus afterwards. But this is a good option where if you don't have your normal summon, you got to keep going. And worst case, you draw this card. It's just Stratos for this, which gets this. You know, that's just still fine. I shouldn't have to show you guys why it's okay for that to happen. Although, obviously, with redundancy, it could be a little iffy. But yeah, I mean, that's really strong, right? So drawing this is special summon a Hydrant from the deck with SP Little Knight before even having to do so. That's good. And that's not even the crazy part yet. Now, getting to Little Knight can be very helpful because getting to Little Knight helps you play around Impermanent Veiler to an extent. Now, in this deck, if you get the Turbulence out with a Little Knight on field, you don't actually play around Veiler or Impermanence because they can just use it on summon of your Turbulence and then you are shut down. So not actually helping you play through stuff there. However, let's say there's a world where there's a Link 3 like Selene that revives Turbulence for us. Now we have that. This card is probably the best card in the set. This card is insane, but I think this card is even better. It's also even more generic, which is, you know, nuts. Even more so than this. You know, it has 1 less effect, but, you know, I think it's fine. Like, the 2 effects here are phenomenal. Like, two insane effects that, you know, individually would be worth playing, probably. And let's just read it here. So 2 effect monsters, so it's generic. Cool. Doesn't even have to need fire monsters, but, you know, it is for fire decks. You can see here, lock yourself into fire. Actually, that's not even true. You can play this outside of fire decks, but it's best in fire decks. And then you only use each of the following effects once per turn. During your main phase, special summon a fire monster from your graveyard. Okay, let's stop there. Let's get to the next effect afterwards, because, you know, it's even better, maybe. But this is Selene, it's Splash Mage, you know, it's all those things, right? So that if they Veil the Turbulence and summon of your Little Knight, Turbulence here while you have Little Knight, you can just link those away for this, revive this, trigger the effects, good to go, no problems. We're all set. Now, we get through the Imperm, we resolve. What happens next? We lock into fires. Well, let's read a second effect. If a monster special summoned to your opponent's field while this card's in your grave, you can target 1 fire monster you control and 1 monster your opponent controls, destroy them if you special summon this card. So, you want to put this card in the grave, you have to link away, and you have to keep in mind it can't be anything but fire monsters to link away, which is okay. And then you have a disruption in the grave. Now, it doesn't have to destroy the monster they summon. So, if they summon a monster, that just triggers it, and you can target one of the other cards to destroy, which, you know, is very useful for delaying or layering your interruptions, your interactions. And if they summon a monster first to try and force it out, that doesn't actually mean anything, because if it's not a threat yet, you could just wait for it to actually become a threat before, you know, using the princess. And you get that sweet removal here. Now, also important to note is it doesn't get banished afterwards. So this is going to be a constant threat for the rest of the game. This is going to be constant removal. It's also important to note is the effect revived from the grave isn't contingent on it being summoned from the extra deck, or summoned this turn, or link summoned, or anything. It's just during your main phase, special summon modifier from the grave. So that means this card is providing extension, it is providing follow-up, and it is providing disruption. 3 of probably the most important things the deck looks for when you're, you know, trying to build. And if you're a fire deck, you have access to all 3 of those things in greater numbers now. So Rescue Ace and Fire King both probably didn't need more access to follow-up. They're both incredibly good at follow-up. They'll still have it, but they're already really good at it. But now they also have more disruption, which is something they sometimes lack. especially through hand traps in the rescue ace's perspective. And they also have more extension, which, you know, sometimes rescue ace lacks playing into a field. It's just mental. It's so good. And remember, you are fire locked afterwards. Not afterwards, but fire locked while it's on the field. So you need more fire to link away. Well, fret not. So we have to look for a fire monster we want to summon with Promethean Princess and the Turbulence, or, you know, whatever game state we have. And that is this card, Amphibious Swarm Ship Ambler Whale. This card is typically going to be in Master Duel. You could do shenanigans with Elf, but, you know, don't need to. And that is this card. So you can search attack for each link monster in your grave, whatever. If this card is destroyed, target link 3 or lower monster in either graveyard and special summon it. So what's important to note here is while you have this on the field, you are fire locked. So if you have Swarm Ship up and you pop it to revive this, you need to revive a fire link monster. So you actually can't revive the Little Night Gear, which would have been insane. It already is insane, but, you know, it would have been even more insane if you could revive that Little Knight, which is fine. You special summon a link 3 or lower. So this can put emphasis on going for Sunlight Wolf lines, you know, get even more follow-up, I guess. And then you can revive the Sunlight Wolf, so you have 2 bodies here, which helps with the other problem with floating or with follow-up, is when you're doing follow-up, you need to make sure you stay alive and live the turn for your follow-up to actually be meaningful. So, you know, extra bodies, you know, to make sure the follow-up sticks. Very useful. You could do something neat and just put a Phoenix up and then co-link them, and then either can be destroyed by battle. That's not bad either. You could also use your generic link material, like throw away an extra body in the process and make Pen Knight early. That way, when you revive, you can revive the early and then throw the early into their EMZ, pointing there. Like if the monster's already there, so you can destroy a monster that's not in the EMZ, then place this into the EMZ. And then when your opponent uses that monster's effect, you can target effect monster, change attack to 0, negate its effect, so it's a nice interrupt. And it also floats for whatever reason, so more follow-up. Nice. And then if you have like another effect you can activate in your field, like it is a preventer float, and you can link it to the preventer, and that also lets you have 2 interrupts. They're kind of co-linked interrupts because they aren't layered, but, you know, you can use both of them together, where you can have a Book of Moon and an Imperm in the exact same you know, chain, which is neat. Yeah, so that's really cool. But this has another effect as well. It's important. So besides the floating effect, which, you know, isn't always relevant, if a link 3 or lower is destroyed, while this card's in the grave, you ban should destroy a card in the field. So that makes it really hard to deal with this. Like, you already don't want to put this back in the grave. But now, if you decide, okay, you can't deal with a follow-up, you have to kill them this turn, and you have to attack over this. One, you're not taking much damage. This card is massive for no reason. Like, 2700 to link 3 is actually really strong. Like, Unicorn is significantly weaker. Selene is weaker, you know. Curious is weaker. These are all, like, good link 3s. This card is just bigger. Why? And that is a fire monster special. Sorry, I don't know why I'm reading that again. So yeah, you need to kill this. You'll Swarm Ship, and you'll be able to pop a card. So very hard for them to get the job done to kill you through all this, which means they have to play for interrupts and for follow up of their own, which is, you know, against these weird game states, and it's just nuts. It's really hard to live on the backswing of this. And the crazy part is if you don't kill this, then they can just, on their turn, immediately summon back a monster, link it away, and then it's back in the grave. Anyways, you have to kill this. Like, what do you do? It's so nuts. You really, like, I feel like this card is just going to be the biggest, like, thing you have to try SP away, because this shit's mad annoying. It's just so insane. Like, most decks also summon on both players' turns, so you just use both effects. So say we're in that position, we get to a, you know, complex game state now, and we get back to my turn with Promethean Princess on field. I use the effect, I revive Airlifter, I search HQ so I can start shuffling back my cards, and I link these 2 away into Hida. So more extension, but now I'm not fire locked anymore. And then at some point, my opponent goes emergency, they summon Preventer out to try and Book of Moon a monster. I can then go, voila, Promethean Princess again, and just get even more cards out. So mental. And this also matters as well, because sometimes you don't have a hydrant on the field, and you know, you're going to be using your alerts, or sorry, your rescues or whatever, to revive hydrants to turn on the better effects of all your cards. And if you can just non-summon Princess, do something about that, that's insane. And remember, you don't need both monsters to be destroyed. So if they go like extinguish, targeting the monster you targeted on your field with Promethean Princess, it doesn't matter. Their hydrant still dies. This card still comes out, and it's just still left feeling like an idiot. It's just so insane. Now, other things you could do with this card is when you're trying to think on follow-up, you could just revive one of the Link 2 fires that you made it with, and then make Yugioh. And that's you know, pretty good. 2300 attack, Link 3 again. It's not as strong as this for some goddamn reason, but target it back row, spin it back. So this is a great way to start your turn off. When you start your turn off with all this follow-up, all your extenders, all your plays, the first thing you want to do is start forcing out interruptions. One of the best ways to do that is just hit a back row that you know is a disruption with Yugioh. And then obviously if something happens, just comes back. So yeah, I probably spewed on about Promethean Princess, you know, enough. I don't want to bore you guys to death. Hopefully I got all the applications for this card. This card is nuts. Like to the fact where the best card of 2024 is probably already announced. It's probably just this. I think this card is really, really good. And I'm actually liking its design. I don't think it's, you know, gonna be like unfun for the format. The cards like Firewall Dragon were in terms of brokenness. Maybe I'll bite my tongue in a few months when I actually have to play against it. But I'm excited after watching some OCG games to get to the format where we had all these cards. And I'm excited for Rescuers to be more consistent, because I feel like we don't have the Snake Eye cards. It actually doesn't feel that good right now. It feels like a very average deck. And I have access to it more often. And this, you know, we'll see some, you know, the real climax of Rescuers' power. And, or who knows, maybe there's more fire cards coming out. But it's going to be crazy. And hope you guys appreciate this type of video. If you guys want to see a Fire King video, let me know. And if you enjoy these type of look forward ask videos where I can explain all the crazy and powerful interactions and new cards coming out in the next few months, then, you know, that feedback's appreciated. If you don't, then let me know what else you want to see, because it can be hard to find, you know, video topics that are good for you guys. I do have a staple tier list coming out soon. I'm sorry, I just wanted to do some more research on the format before I felt, you know, more comfortable and actually able to produce something, you know, quality for you guys. So that'll come, don't worry. And yeah, I will see you guys all next time. Peace.